These are going to be 7 reasons you keep dating narcissists. Now, these aren't the only reasons, but some of these are going to be just circumstantial. They might just not be our fault. And some of them, it's some personal issues, some shadow work, some things we have to work on. But the first one is going to be we just frequent places that attract narcissists. This is obviously not our fault when a narcissist targets us, but it's also our fault that we keep going to these places. But it's probably because we're unaware that it's a place that narcissists are attracted to. For example, I used to like to go to these like kind of seedy dive bar type places, and it's not that everyone that goes there is necessarily a bad person, but narcissists usually, especially the low level ones, are gonna go to, the place with the cheap beers, a place where they can get, illicit substances. Like it's gonna, a certain place attracts a certain crowd, and obviously narcissists are very high adrenaline people. They're impulsive, and a lot of them are criminals, right? So a seedy place like a dive bar or a bar in a bad part of town is gonna attract them. If you are a paralegal and you work with lawyers, it's very highly competitive, highly narcissistic world. Not every lawyer is going to be a narcissist, obviously, but it's going to attract those type of people. And it also breeds and creates that type of person because when your competition, like if you're a lawyer, all the people you deal with are narcissists, you have to kind of become narcissistic to keep up with them. Second reason, you might be someone with low self-esteem. If you are someone who doesn't think too highly of yourself, or your sense of self-worth is really low and you're constantly looking to other people to prop you up, that's like candy to a narcissist because they'll fake it. They'll love bomb you and they'll do all these things that seem like they're fulfilling your needs. The narcissist is very good at reading people so they can manipulate them. So they're going to give you all those things that a person with low self-esteem or someone who doesn't really value themselves too much, they're going to get those feel good experiences from a narcissist. They're fake, but in the moment, it's very easy to be taken advantage of by a narcissist if you don't know they're a narcissist and they're feeding into all of your insecurities. Reason number 3, you might just be a legit empath. Empaths or highly sensitive people attract narcissists because they were essentially created in the same way. A lot of empaths, if not all of them, had narcissistic parents, which that's what happened to the narcissist. They were abused and emotionally abused and neglected to the point that they felt it necessary to disappear. And that's one of the funny things people don't know about narcissism. The narcissist seems like they're just so full of themselves, like they're so self-centered, but essentially they have no core identity. They are almost selfless. Someone who is so selfish, it seems counterintuitive to say something like that, but that's why when you're with a narcissist, they seem kind of empty and hollow. There's that classic line when Johnny Depp dated Amber Heard, and he said, "I dated." I'm going to butcher the quote of it, but he said, "I dated you, but you were never there. There was nothing there." And that's very anybody who's ever dealt with a narcissist felt that deep because that's how they are. They pretend to be there. They mirror you, and they have this facade of being a person, but in reality, they are just this kind of empty shell that copies and mimics a human being. Reason number 4 can happen to empaths and normal people, which is you're just unaware that people like this exist. We've all seen those, or most of us have seen documentaries on psychopaths, and we've probably heard the word narcissism. I stopped feeling guilty about being naive and unaware and all the abuse I took from the narcissist when, like the early example, is someone like Johnny Depp. So that's one where I keep replaying, because abuse is never your fault. Yes, some people are more prone to it or are more susceptible to it, but it's never you're never deserving of abuse. It's never your fault that life has handed you this bad card. But if you keep going back to it, again and again, and you keep attracting these people, it's just that saying, right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. It's not that you're a bad person. It's not that you're not worthy of love and all that. But eventually, we're adults and we have to take responsibility for ourselves. And this ties into reason number 5. Sometimes we're raised by a narcissist. When you're raised by a narcissist, it can either create a narcissist or it can create an empath, or sometimes, if you're very fortunate, it just creates someone who goes about their life in a normal way, but they might even just date narcissists and not know why they're attracted to it. And it's because they were raised by one. They think that that's what love is, but they aren't aware of narcissism. So they take more abuse than a normal person would. They might not be as psychologically healthy as someone who was raised by a neurotypical person, but being raised by a narcissist makes you susceptible to dating them and attracting them. And if you aren't aware of all this information, then it's just a cycle that's going to keep on happening and happening. That's why just learning about narcissism is like the key first step. I used to be this really messed up party kid, and I've overcome a lot. I've overcome being raised by narcissists, dating them, addictions, lifelong depression. I was able to cure lifelong depression. I'll make a video about that later someday. But the point is, I view them like an addiction. They aren't necessarily exactly the same, but the reason I don't wake up every day and take Molly and ruin my life or drink myself to death is because, yes, it's fun and exciting in the moment, just like the narcissist. We could call them right now. I hope you don't, but we could call them right now and have this amazing time. But we all know how it ends. It's fun for a few days, for a few weeks, however long. Then the abuse starts. Then they discard you, and now you're just. It's the cycle is all over again. Now we're it's even more traumatized. That's how those addictions work. It's going to be fun in the moment if you go out and drink from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, but in the long term, it's ruining your life and it's not going to get you anywhere healthy or productive. Reason number six, you might be someone who likes to fix people or a people pleaser. You might just have that kind of love language where you feel like you give people gifts and a certain amount of your time, and then you feel like you're supposed to return a certain amount of love, which is kind of like a covert contract. We a covert contract meaning that we don't tell our partner, hey, I'm gonna do this and this for you, but I expect you to be loyal and love me back in return. That's a thing a lot of people do with narcissists. We don't know they're narcissists, or we know, but we expect people. We want people to read our minds, and most people, 99.9% of people are not mind readers. So that's you have to make aware what you want out of your partner. Stop trying to please people, whoever it is, narcissist or not, and expecting them to give you back something that you never even told them that you want back. And the seventh reason is highly unlikely, especially if you're watching a video like this, but you might be highly narcissistic or be a narcissist yourself, an unaware one, and that's why you attract narcissists. Narcissists are attracted to other narcissists because, well, typically, whatever type of person you are, like attracts like. Yeah, the whole opposites attract too, but we usually like people who resemble us, who have our same interests. For a narcissist, this is even more so because all the things they want out of the partner are the things that they put out into the world, their fake persona, right? They want someone who's very confident, very attractive, very like grandiose. All the things that a narcissist puts out into the world, at least when they're faking it, that's the stuff they want. That's why they're attracted to famous people. They're attracted to very good-looking people. They are attracted to the rich and famous people who are very confident and assertive. They don't just go for weak people. That's the thing. Like they they like value. They have this very like used car salesman kind of vibe to them, like this greasy. They're always just trying to finesse and trying to get their own way, and those type of people, like especially the people, because narcissists are actually kind of gullible. Like a higher level narcissist or or like sociopaths and people with antisocial personality disorder, they can really manipulate narcissists narcissists because of what's happened to us, we assume that they're this very intimidating and powerful person, but really their egos are very fragile and it's very easy to manipulate them, which is I don't recommend doing it, but people who are more intelligent, more cunning than the narcissists can manipulate them easily because they know their enemy, right? They are a bit narcissistic themselves, so they know which buttons to push. to get the narcissist to do what they want. So if you keep dating narcissists, don't beat yourself up. It's not the end of the world. The fact that you're watching content like this is honestly great, and it's the first step. Being self-aware and just empowering yourself with this knowledge and becoming knowledgeable and more self-aware is going to take you a long way to not attracting and dating these type of people anymore.